Hey gang, Jim Farmer here from Castaway Bait and Tackle, and it's the end of August, August 30th. It's about maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just got done with all my work in the shop. Thought I'd go out for a couple hours and see if we couldn't find a topwater bass and maybe a couple stripers to drop a few jigs on. So I wanted to show you guys real quick what I'm going to do before I get out there and what I'm going to use, and hopefully we can get some good video this afternoon. So first, on a topwater bass, I'm just going to hit a couple of my points where I've been catching the topwater bass, and basically all I'm doing is what I have been doing in the past, and that's throwing the emerald popper here. This is I've been hitting the points in the mornings and afternoons, and sometimes you can hit the point and throw this popper out there and pop it a few times, and you're going to get a nice bass that comes up and whacks this thing. Here lately, there's just been a lot of big bass coming up and hitting these topwater plugs, but you know, there's not a lot of them doing it, so you just have to hit a few points until you find one that's willing to hit it. And so we're going to do that a little bit, and then I'm going to try and find a couple runoff ditches, what I call runoff ditches on the south end. It's not really a creek channel, it's not really the river channel, but it's deep ditches, and they're anywhere from about 70 to 100 feet deep. Little channels, and these stripers have been kind of hovering above these channels, suspended and swimming around the channels and moving around the channels and stuff. So I'm going to get out there and do a little power reeling and a little power casting this afternoon. So what I did was yesterday I dropped by Hammond's and picked up a few bucktails and a few paddle tails. So the bucktails I got was I just picked up a Capt Mack 2-ounce, a pack of Capt Mack 2-ounce bucktails here. These are white. I also got a few of these blue and white ones with a little bit of chartreuse in them. You can see there. Then what I did is I got a few of these Bastric paddle tails. These things are pretty long, about 6-7 inches long. But I've got some chartreuse ones there. So I've been putting that on the Capt Mack's bucktail, and you end up with something like this right here. This one's all ready to go. I'm going to hook this one up to the rod and get it ready to drop. But I wanted to tell you guys a little something about putting these plastics on these bucktails, and something that's going to help you. A lot of times after you catch maybe 1 or 2 fish off these big old plastic paddle tails, well, it gets all ripped up and it's just about unusable. So what I've been doing to kind of hold them on the hook and kind of keep them a little bit to where they don't get so ripped up is I put just you can't really see it, you might be able to see it here, but I just tied it to the hook with a little zip strip there. You can just barely see it in there, but I took a zip strip and I just went around the hook and around the body of the plastic paddle tail, and that's going to hold that plastic in place a little better. It's not anything that the fish are going to see or even care about or know it's there, but it's just going to hold that plastic in place. A lot of these plastics are kind of soft, and after 1 or 2 fish they just tear, and you know, there goes $3 or $4. So anyway, a little zip strip around the hook, around the bottom of the hook, and then the plastic is going to help you get a few more fish on these. And this is a 2.5 ounce chipmunk Capt Mack's bucktail. So what I'm doing with this is when I find the fish on the graph, usually if I can mark 3 or 4 in one spot on the graph, I'm going to start dropping this down, just drop it vertically and crank it back up vertically, and then drop it back down again until I get several fish to chasing it, and then one of them inevitably is going to hit it. Another thing you can do with this is if you're driving along looking for fish and you go over some fish but you're still moving, you can throw your boat into neutral and then take this and cast it way out the back. You know, count it down to between 5 and 10 and start bringing it back to the boat. And I call that power casting, and a lot of times these fish are going to hit that too. So you've got a vertical presentation by power reeling, just straight up and down underneath the boat when you're on fish. But if you pass over the fish, you want to take a shot at those same fish that you just passed over, throw your boat into neutral, grab this thing right here, throw it out the back as far as you can cast it, count it down to 5 or 10. This thing's pretty quick because it is pretty heavy with the paddle tail and the lead head on it. So just count it down to 5 or 10 and just start a steady crank back to the boat. And these these stripers have been coming up and hitting it that way. So we're going to do a little top water for the bass, then we're going to shift over. We're going to look for some stripers in the ditches. We're going to try and do a little power reeling and power casting. So hang with me and we'll see you out on the lake. Looks like we found a couple stripers here around some bait, so I'm going to do a little power reeling, see if we can't pick one of these guys up. They look like a couple of nice ones sitting there, so let's give them a try. This guy out. That was from power reeling. Big old bucktail, Capt Mack bucktail. How about that guy right there?